Hi, today's video we're going to do a longish term review of the Vango Ozone 40 lightweight backpack. Now I've owned this for about 18 months, used it quite a few times for day hikes, and I've taken it wild camping quite a few times as well. For me, 40 litres with the kind of storage options this bag has is perfectly fine for sort of spring, summer and early autumn camping. In winter, it's not going to be big enough for my bigger, heavier sleeping bags and stuff, but for those sort of free season uses, it's absolutely brilliant. Now, you can still find it to buy online, but it has officially been discontinued, but you'll find it used. And back in the day, it was an absolute bargain. I paid about 50 quid for this, and people often talk about the fact it looks a lot like the Osprey ultralight backpacks. It really does. And it is a fraction of the price of those. I won't dwell too much on materials and stuff, but I'll pop up on screen throughout the video the kind of different materials and stuff. So 200D nylon ripstop material for the bag, so very light, very thin, but very strong. And it weighs in at just over 1 kilo, which you might think doesn't sound that impressive for a 40 litre bag, but it feels really light for its size, and that weight does include a rain cover as well, and it also includes a full metal frame and airbag. So obviously you can go much lighter for this kind of size backpack if you ditch the frame, ditch the airbag and all that kind of stuff. So this, for a fully featured backpack, is really, really light. If you're looking at picking this bag up used, you should get it for pretty good prices. I think they sold quite a lot of them, and people obviously are always moving on gear, so I think you can still get online now for about 70 odd quid. The new version that Vango bought, I think it's called the Apex, is official price is $115.99. Seems to be very, very, very similar in design and specs. Just the price has gone up quite a lot compared to what this one was, and the colours have changed as well, so it no longer looks like they're ripping off Osprey. But let's just go through some of the features I like about the bag and why I'm not going to be getting rid of mine. I'm going to be keeping it because it's a really nice bit of kit. So I like the strap-in system and the airbag. I've used it a lot in the summer. It does help reduce sweat on your back a lot, and it is very comfortable. I've done 25 to sort of 30 mile hikes using this bag with full wild camping setup, and it's been really, really good all day comfort, and there's not many backpacks you can say that about. All the adjustment works really well, so you can adjust all of the various straps on the fly, get it sitting right on your back and stuff, and you can easily tweak that as you're moving. I like the fact it's got little material hooks here where I can attach carabiners, so often I'll just hang bits and pieces from here as I'm going. And the only bit of wear I can find is somewhere on one of these, there's a little bit of wear here where I've had a metal tripod from my camera that's just rubbed against it. Nothing too serious, but again, it is a slightly more delicate material than you get on some heavier weight backpacks.
An unintended feature of this bag is where you can clip on your trekking poles to the front. Absolutely perfect for mounting an action camera on a little mini tripod. So one of my absolute favourite features about this bag is that unintentional just perfection. Holds it really secure, holds it really steady. You can easily unclip and grab it to use it and put it away again. So yeah, if you're a YouTuber or someone who just takes an action cam everywhere, another great little feature of this bag.
Another thing I really like is the fact it's got really, really stretchy, large hip pockets. So I've got quite a chunky Blackview outdoor rugged foam, which is really quite a fat foam, and it fits into this absolutely fine. So if you're in the summer and you're walking with lightweight clothing on, and you perhaps don't want a big heavy phone in your pocket of your shorts, because if you're wearing like a technical top you're not going to have pockets, then hip pockets are a real godsend, especially when they're this size. You can really cram them full of stuff. So it's got two really generous hip pockets, and again a nice adjustable belt as well. Other features that are pretty standard, but you could take them for granted sometimes. A really generous top pocket, so I can get quite a lot of stuff in there, different layers, different bits and pieces, batteries and stuff I want to access quite quickly that I don't want to put in the hip belt. It's also got a storage area on the front, so that's quite useful if you've been out camping and it's been raining, or it's been a really heavy dew and you've got a tent where you can take the fly sheet off separately. You can stuff that into there and even have it hanging over to dry. So that's quite useful extra space, or you can just put in a couple of sit mats, that kind of thing. Plenty of straps and connections for trekking poles, so if you were trekking in the summer and you were having a trekking pole tent and you didn't want to use the poles all the time, plenty of space to hang them up. And you can also clip them onto the front as well and hang them up as you walk, so that's another nice little feature. Top is just clipped on like most bags, and then inside you've got double cords to pull it tight, so you can really adjust based on how much stuff you've got in there. And the top one stretches up quite high, so you can kind of overfill the bag a little bit as well. You've got a hydration sack inside, or space for a hydration sack I should say, so you can put a hydration sack in there and then feed through the tubes through the corner and then drink as you go. I don't tend to use hydration sacks anymore. I just find they take up too much space inside the bag, so I don't tend to use them. So if you've got traditional bottles, you can either hang them from a carabiner on the front, or buy a little thing to clip onto the front and pop them in. Or there are two generous side pockets as well, and various bits of strapping around there. So if you wanted to strap in tent poles or other bits and pieces, or even a small lightweight tent into the sides, you can do that. But I've found that with my summer gear, this is the OEX Lynx EV1 Evolution tent. Last night I just popped that directly into the bag. There's no separate compartments in the bag, just one big thing, so I was able to pop it down the side, get all my other gear in there, and even get a drone and a second camera in the bag as well without any issues at all. So when I take a lot of stuff out, I'm not just taking camping, I'm taking quite like camera gear as well. So this bag has handled it absolutely fine. In terms of wear, again, apart from that bit of wear on the outer material here, which has been caused by me carrying a heavy tripod on this carabiner and it just rubbing back and forth when walking, I've not got any signs of wear on the bag. All looks to be in good condition. I haven't used it for every hike, but I've used it for some long hikes and quite a few overnight camps, and I do look after my gear, so I'm not saying this is going to be an absolutely brilliant robust bag, because obviously it's slightly lighter weight, but if you look after it, if you look after your gear, take it carefully and stuff, then it's absolutely fine. And I have done a couple of footpaths on this where I've been off the beaten track and I've been sort of ploughing through brambles and head height mess and stuff and bashing off of trees, and it had a few little marks of dirt, but they all wiped off, and it's not shown any wear and tear from that. So really impressed with this bag so far. The rain cover is just your normal zip at the bottom, and then it's just the most luminous orange you could imagine, which kind of suits my normal luminous orange hiking gear I go out in. So yeah, nothing too different about that. But I have weighed this bag myself, and the weight does pretty much match what Vango say, even with the rain cover in. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good. And if you do get this bag, when you sort of see it and pick it up, it does feel really light in the hand. So in terms of just what gear you can pack into it, what I'll do is I'm going to pack away all of my tent, all that gear now. So I'll just show you how easy that goes into the bag and what kind of space you've got left over. So where I've got perhaps a drone and some camera gear, you'll be able to see actually how you could put in there your cook system, plenty of food, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so all packed away, time to get stuff back into the bag. Now, I tend to do this kind of video with packing stuff back into the bag after a wild camp, because your stuff's never as neat after a wild camp than it is on the way out for a wild camp, because like the tent's not packed away brilliantly because it's got a little bit of condensation on the bottom of the ground sheet, so I'm going to take it out and dry it when I get home anyway, so I'm not going to spend ages trying to roll it up really carefully and get it as packed as small as possible. So it's quite a good test. And there's also a pocket on the inside of the lid, which I didn't mention earlier as well, which is quite handy for valuables and stuff. So yeah, the Evolution 1 tent is not the smallest tent. If you were trekking pole tent in it, you'd have a much smaller tent than that. The sleeping bag is tiny because it's a Cedar Summit quilt, which I'm borrowing. It's a very expensive bit of kit. I wouldn't actually go out and pay for one, I don't think, but very nice bit of kit. But if you see some other videos on like the Aldi and Lidl lightweight summer sleeping bags, they're like £14.99 or 20 quid, depending on whether you get them on sale or not. They pack down pretty small like this as well. Obviously not as good a quality and not as warm, but that's the kind of sleeping bag I'd use normally, like my little Aldi one if I was taking this bag out. Didn't wear them last night, but my Nordisk down slippers, I tend to take them on camps just in case my feet get a bit cold. So that'll stuff down into the bottom and fill that space up. Then a Neo Air Thermarests mat of some description. Again, I've borrowed this bit of equipment, so don't know a huge amount about it, but that'll stuff down in the bottom as well. Then in this bag is all of my kind of toiletries, my mini air pump, first aid kit, trowel, like all the kind of stuff, and a couple of battery banks as well, all the kind of stuff I just take out in every camp. I leave in this dry bag just so it's easy to pick up. Probably my heaviest little bag, but that stuff's in there fine. And there is my wide sea sleeping pillow, AliExpress, really cheap, packs down small, really light, but actually quite a big, comfortable pillow, so that'll just stuff down there as well. And we're not having to cram stuff in. So we have also got my X-Bed sit mat, which I'll just cram inside down the front like that. My drone, which I haven't used today because I couldn't be bothered, but we'll stuff that in as well. So if you didn't have the drone and you're packing a bit more carefully than this, then the space where I'd chuck my drone would fit your cook system and some food. And we're not doing things like we're not touching this outside pocket as well, which you could also stuff things into. So I'm going to actually put another camera in there as well, because I'm not going to use this one on the way back. So another little camera, that'll stuff in there fine as well. And again, there's still plenty of space if you're packing this more carefully, but I never like to overpack because I want to be able to get things back into the bag without a massive battle. And you can see there that that's going down without having to be extended too much, so you can extend it further. Now it's got an interesting system in terms of it's got a sort of top clip like that which you can tension, and then the lid comes down with two other clips. So my tent pegs I'm just going to chuck into the top here, along with a mini tripod and a bag of my spare batteries and wires and connectors and stuff. 800ml drinks bottle down one side, and an empty can of cider down the other. But you can see you can put other things onto these straps, and you can tension all these things and get the bag set up exactly as you want before you set off, or depending on how much weight and different stuff you've got in there. And you can see from the lid that we could have filled up taller and the lid would stretch up, and we've still got plenty of space in the hood pocket as well. So yeah, a really decent little bag. So we'll take it for a little walk back now. As I said, the bag carries really well. There can be, I'm not sure if you can hear it, a little bit of creaking noise going on from the airframe, but I find that tends just to go as you start walking for a bit of a distance. It's never really been an issue for me. I've had kind of squeakier backpacks in the past from some of the airframe ones, but I've definitely taken this on very long hikes, and you can see them. I'll pop a link in the description to some of the longer hikes I've taken this on with wild camping gear and stuff, including 21, 22 miles across from Krakow across the Brecon Beacons and stuff, and did a wild camp there. So it's definitely a pack that I've put through its paces in terms of comfort. So obviously you've got your hip belt, you've got your top belt up here as well, all pretty standard fare, but very comfy, very nice to adjust, easy to move on the fly as well, and tweak the comfort and all the rest of it. And if you're someone who likes to get it sort of tight to your shoulders, I like to get it bag tight to my shoulders so I don't feel there's too much movement going on. It's easy to achieve that. And if you're only carrying sort of summer gear like I do,
then 40 litres is absolutely fine for that. And if you're a real gear junkie, got some really, really lightweight gear, you could probably get away with a 40 litre bag for a winter camp as well. And one of the things I have found is that I have used it a bit as a day bag, just because of how light it is. I have like a 26 litre Osprey Stratos bag, which actually weighs a lot more than this one. So sometimes you think, well, actually I may as well just take the extra space and not have to worry about cramming anything in, and the bag is still lighter than the Osprey 26 litre bag, and it's still got the same functionality in terms of support, airframe and all the rest of it. So it is a really, really good bag. As it's been discontinued, if you do want to pick one up, you'll be able to find a couple online still for sale, I think. So grab one whilst you can. If not, do I do? Look for used purchases. I buy loads and loads and loads of my gear used and save a lot of money that way. And the good thing about outdoor gear is people tend to buy a lot of it, use it a couple of times or maybe once, or sometimes don't even use it at all and then sell it on. So I think the Ozone bag is something that's well worth looking at on the used market. If you can get one for a reasonable price, I think it's a really, really good value bit of kit, because as you probably know, lightweight gear often lightens your wallet a lot more than your back. I appreciate it's not a massively in-depth look at the bag, but just wanted to give you an overview of the bag and my experience of owning it for quite a while and using it quite a bit. It is a really, really good bit of kit, something I'm definitely going to keep. And every time the weather warms up, as I fall over, I look forward to getting it out and using it for camps and hikes, because it's lightweight, plenty of space, plenty of nice functions and features. It is for me, especially with the little camera thing as well. It's just the ideal bag. So I hope that's been of some help to you. If I have missed anything or anything you want me to clarify, just drop a question in the comments and I'll definitely get back to you.